It was coming soon.
Oh no.
80,000 lines of code.
It's literally impossible. Twitch. And then let's see. Projector here. You see my screen? All right, cool. And hopefully I can see my screen. It says I'm live. Why isn't it showing it here now? There it goes. Oh, no, nope, nope. Come on. There we go. Okay. Now I got chat on the other screen. Life is good. Let me go check the lights. That just takes a second to figure it out. It all works. So it's too bright. What that? Switch. Let me try this one. Because I got the middle set of lights on my perk. The lights are broken. Do you see okay if I have these on, or is that too bright?
I can see it.
Okay. We'll just go with that then. And the other ones turn on at some point. Switch. Oh, it works now. There we go. I just needed to warm up, apparently.
How did that happen?
It's the good old turn it on and off again. It even works with light bulbs. Oh. All right, friends. Happy Tuesday again. We are moving on now to recursion. So we had talked about recursion previously in the previous course. We're going to do a quick recap on that, and then we're going to look at the more advanced or interesting recursion. And I did want to talk about the lab too. At lab 2, number 2 also. So a couple things that might not necessarily have been super clear. Using next will get you the next value in a progression. So these progression classes all say they are iterable here, and they can get the next value out. Now we don't often use next directly here. So more often than not, we do like another, I'll just throw it here first. So if we say, for value in range 50, I can just get value, or we can like print value out. Right, so range here is iterable. You can iterate over it inside of a for loop. This is something that is iterable. So if a class implements iter, it means it's iterable, and you can get the next on it. So you could say something silly like, hey, this is my values is range 50. And then I think we can print next values. And we might not be able to do that directly. I think once we have, range is a little bit funny. I think that might work for us. Let's give that a quick look. No, yeah, so range is not directly an iterator. It will give us back that list here. So it's ever so slightly different. But what we can do, the same idea, once we have something that is iterable here, our first progression, I can say for value in first progression, print value, and this will give me the next number over and over and over and over again because the first progression is iterable. Now the problem is it never stops, right? It's going to keep on going because there is no end to these iterations here. Usually our for loops will stop because we're going over a set number here. So you can't really use it as well in a for loop directly without having some other way to stop that for loop. Because it'll go forever. It could care less. Like, as long as we want to sit here, we could watch it, which is not all that exciting. But if we're like, say, adding these values to a list here, right, maybe, oh yeah, so like, oh, look at that, I did this before. I copy-pasted this from last year's class. So, hey, I'm going to count, and then if I get to a certain count, I can just break, right? This sort of idea here. Or you could ask for the next value. So, same idea here. Either approach works for this, for getting the next value out, right? One is we manually break it. One is where you just manually call the next on it. So a couple ways of messing with those or using things that are iterable there. So similar idea with Fibonacci, right? We want to get the first 500 values. So if you're saving these sort of things here, we could do one more here. Let's do, we'll do it at the top, I guess. Why not? So another progression equals a progression dot progression. Come on, there we go. And then if I'm going to store all of these here, I can have like numbers is a list here. And then for value in range, say 500, we could go through and we could take numbers, we could append the next of another progression. And then I can check, hey, if the length of numbers is 500, oh, no, sorry, for value in range, there we go, I'm going to go this way. We'll just append the value. If the length hits 500, there we go, we can break. Numbers, all right. So just one other way here, right? If we're adding them to the list, we'll let the length of the list tell us when we hit 500, rather than having a separate count value here is all. That sort of thing. And then if you missed plotting here, you can import matplotlib pyplot if you've installed it. So you have to go and you have to add it as a library first. So it's under tools. Oh no, it wasn't even tools. My goodness, it's been a little while since I did this. Right click. Where is it in here? My goodness, it's in our Python settings here. Where's the one I want? Run. I think it's in configurations. So this is the virtual environment I've set up here. So I've got Python 3.7. Oh no, this is my main Python 3.7 install here. So I can go and add stuff to my Python install. Let's see. So to add that to my Python, where did that even go? So I think it's in settings. That's where it is. There's so many different menus in here. I'm sorry. There we go. So in Python interpreter, it's a package we're going to add. So I'm going to go to my Python interpreter in file settings. From here, then I can go find that package was matplotlib. So I've got matplotlib installed. If you don't have it, you can go add a package. You can go install a package if you want to go find it. There's a ton out in the library that you can go find. Matplotlib. You go find the matplotlib library and install that one, or install that package there, then you can use it. So if you're using the main Python interpreter, like this one's installed as Python 3.7, you do it once and it's available to anything that uses this Python interpreter. If when you make a project you use that virtual environment is a standalone copy. And one of the reasons that's kind of helpful is as you start adding packages and packages and packages and packages, it keeps it isolated from your main install. So you can kind of play around, try some packages, and not have them clutter up the main install. And then other issues with packages is if two packages have the same name, things can get confused. So you don't necessarily want to be adding dozens of packages to your main install that might have similar names to other things. Because if you didn't name it carefully, bad stuff can happen. So all that to say, matplotlib is fun. And then if you want to go plot things, it's